What is up, y'all? Welcome back to another video. In today's video, we are predicting the Lions' final 55-man roster. And today is part one of a two-part series where we look at the offense. It needs its own video because this one's going to be tough. Let's get it started. So now it is a 55-man roster as the CBA was approved instead of 53. So we can get two more players. Two more players are able to be active on game day, which is now 48, and two more players on practice squad from 12 to 14. So that's all great and fine and dandy. But still tough to make some of these decisions. So we're going to be trying to make these decisions today. Obviously, you guys can disagree with these. These are just a prediction. This isn't the Lions' actual final 55-man roster. But this was so hard, and that's why it needs to have its own time. Now, I do have what the Lions did last season. But I think I'm going to mix it up a little bit. You know, these could be wrong. They could be wrong for sure. Lions could go out and sign somebody. Someone could get injured before the season starts. Hopefully that doesn't happen. But, you know, things can change. But here we go, man. Let's just hop right into it. Here's my final 55-man roster, the offensive side prediction. Starting at the quarterback position, last season Lions kept 3 quarterbacks. I think in 2018 they only kept 2. So there's actually a chance now with Chase Daniel signing that they only keep 2, right? Because they only need the 2. However, after last season's scare, I think, you know, Lions went through 3 quarterbacks last season. I have a feeling they're going to want to keep 3 out there as well. I just have a feeling they will. So I think Matthew Stafford, Chase Daniel, and David Blau are all there. I love that they seem to have some confidence in David Blau for the future. Hopefully that's the case. Hopefully we may have found someone. So those are the 3 I'm going with, man. I think they're going to keep all 3 of those guys on the active 55-man roster. Or not active, just the final 55-man roster. I think they're all there. Now let's hop over to the running back position. And again, we're looking at 55, not the 48, the 55. That's what, you know, that's how we're doing this. So things come up during the year, but we're looking at the 55. Looking at the running back position, let's just say right here, it just gets tough. I mean, right here is where you have to make a decision where some people are going to disagree, some people will agree. I don't know what to do, y'all. I struggled with this for so long. This is actually not my first time recording this. Let me just say it's like my 6th time because I literally cannot make the decision here. But starting off, we have Kerryon Johnson, DeAndre Swift. Those guys are on the team. Kerryon Johnson, this could be his last year. He needs to ball out or at least stay healthy. So it's a big year for Kerryon for sure. But this year, I still have him on the team. Jason Huntley, to me, stays, and he plays like a McKissick role. So I think he has a lot of time. He'll bump to wide receiver. He'll bump to slot. He'll bump to wide. He'll play running back, get a couple of carries. He'll just do a lot of different things. And I like the potential with Huntley. Obviously, there's a reason they selected him in the 5th round. Going after that, we have the 2 biggest question marks, okay? The 2 biggest question marks. Nick Bawden is also on my team. So that's 4. Now, last season, the Lions kept 4 on their 53-man roster, but now it's 55, and I've decided to keep 1 more. I have to keep 1 more, right? Because Kerryon, Swift, Huntley, Bawden, there's 2 guys named Bo Scarborough and Ty Johnson. We actually did a Versus video on this. This is the first video we actually did with the Versus series. And this is the hardest one for me to make a decision on. I mean, I really cannot do it. I'm struggling so much here because it's so hard to decide which one the Lions go with. Maybe they keep both, maybe they keep neither. But in this case, I'm thinking they're going to keep 1, and then the other one goes to practice squad. It's not like they're losing him. He's just on the practice squad. The first thing I did was have both. Then I was like, that's too much. I can't do it. So then the next thing I did was keep Ty Johnson. And the reason I put Ty Johnson the first time is because Bob Quinn drafted him, so obviously he had a lot of confidence in him. He can play return man. He's pretty darn physical. He's super fast. And, you know, he's a really solid running back that's still very young that we're just waiting to, you know, find out what he can do next season. So I'm like, okay, they're going to keep him, right? He drafted him. But then I come back and I think, wait a minute. No, they're going to keep Bo because they brought in C.J. Anderson, Garrett Blunt, Mark Thompson. They brought in all these big running backs. They didn't work out because, you know, they were just past their prime for sure. But we've tried it, and we've obviously wanted one because we keep doing it. So if you want to say, well, they don't want one, well, they seem to, because every year we bring in these big running backs, they just don't work out. But maybe they think they figured it out with Bo Scarborough. And he's only 23 years old, but he weighs 235 pounds. None of our other running backs are on that level when it comes to size. And he's 6'1". This is like your only pure power back you have. And yes, he wasn't drafted, and maybe you think you can put him on the practice squad and move him up game by game. You might be able to. But that's where the hard decision comes in for me, right? Do I go with Bo Scarborough or Ty Johnson? And at the end of the day, I decided to go with Bo Scarborough, man. That's what I decided to go with. And it hurts me to say that because I feel like you could easily beat Ty Johnson. I would not be shocked if Ty Johnson does. I will not be mad if you say Ty Johnson will. Ty Johnson can return kicks. This dude's a monster. He's an animal. He's really powerful for his size. He's extremely fast. A lot of potential, and Bob Quinn selected him, so he obviously likes him. But at the same time, them going with those power backs, man, I have that feeling, man, because aside from him, we don't have a power back. I have a feeling they're going to go with Bo, man. They want to run the ball. Darrell Bevell wants to run the ball. Bo just seems to fit more to me, but again, it could be Ty. I went with Bo Scarborough. Let's move on to the next position. Wide receiver. Again, this one is difficult as heck. So you have Kenny Galladay, Marvin Jones Jr., Danny Amendola, Quintez Cephas. Yes, Cephas easily is in because he's the rookie. So there's your 4. What do you do after that? All right. Last season, Detroit Lions kept 5. They had 5 on their 53-man roster and their final 53-man roster. And this season, we have a lot of options. And it could be Chris Lacey, it could be Travis Fulgham. But for me, it came down to 2 players. Not Victor Bolden, but to me, it came down to 2 players. Geronimo Allison, or Marvin Hall. Which one do I take? Do I take Deep Ball Hall or New Man Geronimo, right? Which one do I take? Do I take the guy the Lions signed this offseason? Or do I take the guy that was actually really impactful and surprising last season that they brought in? See, I thought when we brought in Marvin Hall, he's just maybe he could be a returner, but maybe just some depth. Okay, whatever. All of a sudden, he balls out. Dude almost averages 40 yards reception. And some people think this guy doesn't do anything. He's a one-trick guy that plays slot every once in a while. And it's like, no, that's not what he does. He does so much more. This guy played 2 times the amount of snaps on the wide receiver position. This guy actually had a lot of playing time. And man, he was a nice target for Matthew Stafford. And then Geronimo Allison, we haven't seen him yet, but obviously they liked him because he went and signed him. And I could definitely see him being on the roster. I could see this being a position where the Lions keep an extra player, right? But here's where the problem really comes in. Jamal Agnew. What the heck do I do with Jamal, right? Because if Jamal's not on the 55-man roster, he's not returning kicks either. He's not returning punts either. So now all of a sudden I'm in a situation where it's like, well, what do I do here? So here's how I'm going to either say it. We'll see. I think next video I'll have the confirmed idea. Marvin Hall makes it. Geronimo Allison, he could be cut. It's going to be tough, man. This is tough. It's kind of weird because he's not super young. He's already been in the league for like 4 years. I have Marvin Hall, though, because Marvin Hall was big for us last year. A lot of people were sleeping on Deep Ball Hall. So I have Hall. But now the question is Jamal Agnew. Does he make the final 55 or not? For now, I'll say yes. But when I go tomorrow or whenever we do the next one, and I finally finalize how many players are going to be on the defense and special teams, when I finalize that, I'll decide whether or not Jamal can actually make it. But for now, I'm going to say yes. And the only reason he's in here is not because I think he'll have a lot of time at the wide receiver spot, because he's a returner. And I still think the Lions want to rock with this guy. He's an all-pro. If he doesn't fumble the ball, he's very talented. So I'm going to go with Hall and Agnew for now, but that may change. We'll see. Moving on, tight end position. This one's kind of easy for me. Actually, no, it's not. I lied. Guess what, y'all? Last season, we kept 3, okay? Now we already have 2 extra players. Last season, we kept 3, depending on what happens with Agnew. So I think we got to keep 3 again, which is T. Jackson, Jesse James. Who's that third one? Is it Hunter Bryant or is it Isaac Nauta? Is it Isaac Nauta who you drafted, or is it Hunter Bryant that you signed, the best undrafted free agent? All right? Who is it? Me, personally, I'm going with the Georgia Bulldog, man. I'm going with Isaac Nauta. I love the upside, and I know the new thing is all exciting, and it's like, oh, it's Hunter Bryant, man. He's so great. I mean, he's new. We haven't seen him yet. I'm going with Isaac Nauta. I think Hunter Bryant makes a practice squad. I'm going with Isaac Nauta, though. I mean, maybe all 4 stay. I'm going with Nauta, man. He's putting in work. He was drafted. I think Bob Quinn likes him. I like him. You know, I think he has a lot of great potential. He has great hands. He just had a couple of missteps last season. I think he was uncomfortable. I think he's comfortable year 2. More comfortable with Stafford. We know they are working out. I'm going with Nauta, man. You guys can definitely agree. Now with the line position. Last season, Lions kept 9 offensive linemen. And this season, I try my best to keep it at 9. So we got Decker, Dahl, Ragnow, Jackson, Big V. Okay, those are your first 5. That could be your starting 5. We'll see what happens with Dahl. Dahl can start. He may not. Then at the bench, obviously, you have Stenberg, right? We have Crosby, and we have Wiggins. Those 3 are easy. So that's 8. All of a sudden, that's 8. Oh, snap. I got to make a decision, dude. You keeping 9? I'm trying to keep 9, right? So now here's where it comes down. Do I bring Dan Skipper, Bo Benshaw, or Joshua Garnett? And for me, I'm moving on from Dan Skipper. I'm not bringing back... Here's the problem. Here's a real problem I see when I say that. Is that Crosby's your only pure backup tackle, right? I mean, if a tackle goes down, none of these other... Like, Stenberg's not playing tackle, or he hasn't played tackle. Wiggins is more of a guard, all right? Now, all of a sudden, it's like, okay, we didn't bring back Skipper. So if you want to say Skipper, I get it, because he's the actual backup tackle, and I think it's fair to say that. That's why I first actually had 10. Then it comes down to me, the Benshaw or Garnett. Are you going with the guy that was a former first-round pick, or are you going with Benshaw that lasted through, a whole undrafted free agency season, and he's still with the Lions? I'm going with Bo Benshaw. I'm going with Bo Benshaw, man. That hurts. It's crazy to say that. I think Garnett has a real shot here, but for some reason, something to me, when you keep a guy that was undrafted for an entire season, you kept him for a reason. And I think they keep Bo Benshaw again. I could see him keep 10 offensive linemen. The problem is here, now it's like, do you keep Skipper, though? Because Skipper is the other backup tackle. Or when something happens, you just make adjustments. I'm going to go with Benshaw and just leave it at 9, but I could definitely see it being Skipper. So that's your offense so far. Special teams is Muhlbach, Prater, Sipos. I'm going with Sipas. I think it's Sipas. Sipas at the punter position, not Fox. So that's your offense. So that means we have 3 on quarterback, and then we have 5 at running back, so that's 8. At wide receiver, we have 5 more, that's 13. 13, possibly 14 with Agnew. Tight end, you have 3 more, which is 13, possibly 4. Okay, 13, that makes 16. And then you have 9 more, which would make 25, possibly 26. So I'm at like 25, 26 right now. That means, plus special teams would get you about 28, 29. That would mean that you have the rest of that, which is like 27, to fill out the defense. So, woo! What do you guys think, man? What do you guys think? These are some big decisions, and I'm glad I don't have to make them. I'll just say that. Oh, and no, I'm not keeping Sokol at the tight end position. He's young. I think he may have a bright future, but I don't think it'll be with us unless it's on the practice squad. We'll see. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you, for watching, and I'm out.